Hey y'all, welcome to another episode of Clangin and Bangin with Mikey, episode 154. And today, man, what we're going to talk about is, man, we're going to talk about life, and the difference and the ups and downs that everybody go through. Seems like everybody I know either is getting divorced, has got divorced, ended relationships, ended situationships, for one reason or another. And I think that it's important to realize when everything is ran its course. Um, most of us don't know this because we're so wrapped up in this situation. We don't know that when it's gonna be, that it's nearing its end. And I was in situations. Well, one situation in particular, where I was, I'm gonna be honest. I had fallen with my best friend. This was years ago, and it was heavy on my side, but not as heavy on her side. Meaning, like the feelings were there. Just like it was more of a me thing than a mutual thing, right? Um, and I remember I had sent. I was talking to him. I had sent out a few text messages to my homeboys, and I was telling them the situation, and they were like, "Yo, I think she checked out on you, dog." And I went back and I looked at the text messages, you know, and I was like, "Yeah, she did," you know. And it sucked when I came to that realization because not only did I lose somebody who I genuinely cared about, I also had lost two people. Um, I lost my best friend and somebody I genuinely cared about, and it wasn't because like we didn't work out or whatever it was. It was simply because she didn't see me the way she saw me, which or the way I saw her, I should say, which is fine. I mean, it's whatever, right? And when that happened, and how it happened, I was basically a placeholder. And if you go back and you listen to Elevation Part Two, it's basically me, saying in a poem like sense. It's like, yo, it's like a nigga was a placeholder. I ain't mad at it because it is what it was. Because I was. I'm the dude that everybody comes to, for whatever reason, X, Y, and Z. And I literally had people tell me like, "Oh, I wish I could find somebody like you." Like, bitch, I am me though. Like, what do you mean? you know? And and usually when that happens, I kind of just leave it alone because there's no point. There's no point in me being friendly with you. There's no point in me being having communication with you because it is what it is. It's like you're telling me what your intentions are with me, and I just look at it like, okay, bet. And I've been in situations where a girl catches feelings and she starts making excuses, all kinds of shit, right? And I'm like, yo, it's like, you know, if you didn't want that or if you wanted something different, you should have spoke up, or you should have spoke up, you should have said something because I can't read minds, you know. I can't read your mind. I don't know what's going on with you. If you don't communicate, and I'm really good at doing that, I'm really good at communicating with people. But the one thing I'll never do, I'll never sit there and force conversations. Um, I'll never sit there and make it out to be more than what it is. You know, if you want to talk to me, you can talk to me. If you don't want to talk to me, fine, fuck it, whatever. I've been talking to this one girl, and she's like, well, like, like you have been texting me every day. I'm like, well, you make it seem like you're not texting me. You know what I mean? It's like you making it seem like you're not the one reaching out, for conversation as well. And I get it. A lot of people in my mid 30s, a lot of people I know are either divorced, single parents or just divorced with no kids, right? And me, um, been single for forever. No kids. Got a decent gig. Slowly moving up. But at the end of the day, I think people gravitate towards me because they know, number one, that I'm not gonna bullshit them. I'm not gonna sit here, lie to your face. I'm not gonna coddle you. I'm not gonna do X, Y, and Z because what's the point in doing that? I don't. I've never understood that. I've never understood somebody bullshitting somebody else or sparing their feelings simply because you don't want to hurt their feelings. There's a difference between being mean and there's a difference between giving them constructive criticism, right? This happened the other day. I was talking to somebody, and we was talking about expectations, and this individual said like, "Oh, I have high expectations of people. This and this and this and that." I was like, "Yo, that's great, but you can't go around putting your expectations of what this people or persons should be doing. Person's saying the word, yeah, yeah. If this person should be doing, right? Because those expectations are 100% from you. Those high expectations should be held to you, on you only. Because it's not fair to other people that you put these expectations on them, and it's like, what happens when they don't reach them? You know, what happens when you don't? When they fail in your eyes? There's a difference between somebody trying to be better, trying to reach higher levels and whatnot, and then there are people who don't want to try because they're too afraid of failure. Somebody I knew a few years back, they had a chance to change their career, make more money, and the career they were going into, it was a kind of, I mean, it was dangerous, but it was like, it wasn't really like dangerous. Anyway, this individual, they had gone through the training and everything, passed the test, the physical part, whatever it is, right? Actually, no, they had missed it, so they had to retake it, and so I'm talking to them, boom, boom, boom. Oh, okay, cool, whatever. Also, when is the next, the next test, whatever. I'm like, okay, cool. So they told me, and I was like, oh, a couple of days goes by. I didn't hear nothing about them. I was like, oh, no. So I text them, like, hey, how did the test go? And they go, well, I didn't take it. I was like, what? Like, what you mean you didn't take it? She's like, and they were like, yeah. I was like, what do you mean you studied for the written exam? You know you took time off from work to do the physical part of it. What? And then they started making excuses about, I got kids, my responsibilities, this and this, and I'm like, yeah, I get all that, but what's the point of you going through all that if you don't want to do it? It never made any sense to me. That's different, because you're telling me your expectations of yourself, and you failed to even meet your own expectations, and that's why I look at things like, okay, but you did all that for absolutely no reason.
Did you just close your door?
And so yeah, and but yeah, and I think that's really sad and it's really pathetic because you don't get the same opportunities twice. And when I say that, it's true because it's like a lot of people will become stuck in a job, in a situation where it no longer suits them, you know. And when it doesn't suit them, it's like, okay, cool. It's like, why would you do that though? And why would you want to set yourself up for failure like that? I've never understood that. There's a difference between striving for something and failing at it, and there's a difference between setting a goal and not even fucking reaching it because you're too fucking scared to do anything about it, right? And that's why I differ at, man. It's like, call me an asshole, call me conceited, call me whatever adjective or noun that you want to describe me as, call me that. But at the same time, it's like if we're friends, or if I'm dating you, or even if I'm just fucking and sleeping with you, right? It's like there's something about me that's like, yo, if I'm messing with you in any of those facets and in any of those arenas, I expect you to hold yourself accountable. I expect you to do X, Y, and Z. Because if you're telling me all this shit, then go do it. Don't look for excuses. Don't look for sympathy. Because I will point blank tell you, you don't get none of that shit here. All that sympathy shit, all that, what was like, no, fuck out of here with that, bro. It ain't gonna work. And you may hate me, you may do X, Y, and Z, but at the end of the day, um, it really doesn't matter what you think. Because if you have the ability to change, ability to get better, ability to improve, then fucking go do it. Don't ever sit there and be like, oh, well, I have X, Y, and Z going on me. Nobody cares. Work harder. Do whatever you got to do to make it. And if what you're doing isn't working, go back and change some shit. Never quit on the go. Just change up the route, Do a detour, Goals don't go like this. They go boom, 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 left to right, boom, 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 side to side, up and down, peaks and valleys, right? There's never a linear line, bro. It's not gonna be straight like that. Everybody thinks it is, but it's not. And I think the older I get, the more I realize, a lot of people, man, we just out here trying to figure this shit out. We out here winging it. I ran across this post where this young lady was talking about, when I, before I got to high school, I thought high school just had it all together. And before and then I thought college kids had it all together. Then I got to college. And then she's like, well, and after that, I thought adults had it together. And in reality, none of us have it together. We're literally winging this shit. We're learning as we go. There's some people who made mistakes and some people who do X, Y, and Z. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, a lot of us are just trying to figure this shit out. Some of us have better starting points than other people. Huh? And some of us, we just definitely have to just keep learning, keep striving, keep getting better. Because that's what it is, man. You don't get better simply just by hoping and praying. You gotta get better by putting in the work. You gotta get better by exploring yourself and trying to understand yourself. Which brings me to Scorpio times Scorpio. I am still working on the album. There's a lot of tracks that I have to go through for this particular album, because I have for this particular album, there's over 100 tracks. So I gotta pick 15 of these motherfuckers. And I have to see if they fit the mold of what I'm trying to do. Because if you guys listen to the Life album, I talk about my childhood, I talk about failed relationships, I talk about everything else. But with Scorpio times Scorpio, it's more of an in-depth version of me talking to me. Because I believe we all have that inner child. And that inner child for me is like, he comes out through the keyboard, the mic, studio sessions. That's when he comes out, and it's not a bad thing, it's not a good thing, it's just a thing. And for me, it's like I'm constantly trying to find answers as to, okay, X, Y, and Z happened. How can I prevent this from happening if I do have kids, from them experiencing the same shit that I experienced, And I just look at it like, hey, if I ever do have kids, world, watch out, because my baby's gonna be a handful. And I think at the end of the day, having kids, bro, I joke around it a lot, but I think I would be a great dad. You know, I don't know. I don't know who would have it worse though. My wife or my babies. you know. But yeah, man, I think having kids, that would be a blessing, man, because I would get to help mold another individual into he or she being a better version of themselves every day. And I think at the end of the day, that's all that matters, man. When you're dealing with individuals and when you're dealing with something as fragile as a human mind, it's just unbelievably amazing how a little human being can change it. Can change your world. And it's it's interesting to me because I don't think a lot of people plan to become parents. They just happen to have unprotected sex, and 9 months later, baby pops out. And a lot of people, they're not built for that. They don't understand themselves yet. So how can they help raise a child to be better than them if they don't understand themselves? But yeah, man, I think being a dad would be a beautiful thing. I think being a dad would definitely be something that I wouldn't want to shy away from. Because imagine me being a dad to a little boy or a little girl, and imagine that baby having the same attitude, same outlook that I have. You know, and I think it's it's crazy because when you really sit there and you think about it, it's like, yo, it's like these kids will take what they've learned from you and they will apply it to everyday life. And once they apply it, man, the sky's the limit. As you guys know, I didn't really have the best relationship with my dad, so that led to a lot of like self reflection, trying to understand, and what I noticed is that it was a generational thing. Because I look at my dad's brother, my uncle, my my grandmother when she was alive, it was the same thing. Um, a lot of it has to do with and just being black in general, man. Like we don't talk about our shit, brothers I know are like we don't have conversations like that, And even when we do, it's like it's like almost surface level, but not really that deep. Um, but because as black men, man, it's like we just don't have that luxury. We don't have the luxury of being, you know, of being depressed or showing emotion because at the end of the day, man, it it doesn't matter. Like at the end of the day, we go from being these cute little black boys to one day being a threat to one day, all kinds of different shit happens to us, right? And so when we see things or when we go through things, a lot of us don't know how to react in um a way that's conducive, a way that's constructive, a way that's positive. And it is what it is. And then when you try to talk about your emotions, it becomes word salad because it's just blah, it just comes out at once, and it's a lot. And I think to go back to what I said in general, or to go back to what I said in the beginning about talking about life, it's imperative that we have the ability to communicate properly and effectively, and we understand that a lot of the times, it's not our fault for the situations we was in, but it's our responsibility to make sure that the shit that we experience, it stops with us. So anyway, y'all, this is about 20 minutes of your life that you won't get back. Hope y'all keeping it 4 P's. private player positive pushing. I'll see y'all next week Sunday. I love y'all. Ghosts. And like I always say, know your worth because you're better than what you are. Peace.